Well, if we learned anything today, it's never, ever give me a technical job because I can't do it. I will fail. It will go bad.
Technical production by John Champion said no one ever.
Said no one ever. I'm just going to turn in my iPhone at this point. I'm going to turn that in. I'm going to get a little flip phone, the one with the big buttons on it. That'll happen. Hi, everybody. We're not even 5 minutes late.
No, so technically it's not really that big of a deal, right?
We're not even fashionably. You're fashionable, but as a group, we're not even fashionably late. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you hold the house for 5. You know that, Jessica.
Always. It goes up at 8:05 every time.
In my business, anything less than 15, you're on time.
Exactly. That's true. That's true.
So thanks to all the warmers out there, whoever warmed up the crowd for us. Thank you so much.
Yes.
No check in the mail. We expect that from you.
Yeah. Welcome to the Roddenberry Podcast portion of Virtual TrekCon as the big lead-in to STLV 2023. Any news about STLV? I can't wait to get into that. Can't wait to hear if there's chatter on the internet about STLV this year. Haven't heard a thing. But before we get into that, I would like to introduce everybody, and we'll just go in alphabetical order, which should be the order on your very screens right now. Heather Barker, welcome to the show. Tell us who you are and what you do and where people find you.
Oh, all that stuff. I don't even know what I do anymore. I'm here at Roddenberry. I help co-host Mission Log Live. We're talking about Strange New Worlds, and I'm hosting a discussion about the episodes on our Patreon Discord. You might have seen me earlier today on the Shore Leave panel with Marina and Jesse, talking about the Star Trek Experiences Convention Group, which we admin, and all of the great events that are there. I do other things, but I don't know. So someone else go.
All right, Norman Lau.
Oh God, I'm on the spot now.
You are.
This is why you have editors and podcasts, because they take.
That's why everybody should have an Earl.
Right? Not just for technical difficulties, but for like on the spot, improv. Because I'm no improv artist. We have a professional improv artist in the house right now. That's not Mike.
Stop it! I'm right here. I'm right here.
God damn you, John. Damn you, John. My one moment to shine.
I hope people by now know what I do. If you don't know what I do, I make John look that much better when we do our broadcasts.
Wow,
I'm the person who slides the apple cart to him, and sometimes I stand on it just because I need to have a platform to proselytize on. I guess that's the right word, right? Because is that the right word? Can I say that word?
Pontificate, which is also
okay.
Yeah.
Philosophize.
I also used that incorrectly for a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
So as co-host of Mission Log and also co-host of Mission Log Prodigy on Roddenberry Podcasts. So that's what I do.
Excellent. And Mike Richards.
Hey, everybody. Co-host with Jessica Lynn Verdi on Mission Log the Orville. And I host a Mission Log live event on Wednesday nights where we discuss each and every episode of the Orville, as well as the most recent podcast that was released. We are just on season 3 right now as we do that. And we also cover the comic books. So Jessica and I just released 6 episodes of the comic books. And we've got David Cabeza, the artist, who did the Dark Horse comics, joining us tomorrow, along with JP from Orville Nation, for his translation skills and his in-depth knowledge of the Orville as well. So it's going to be a little bit of a crossover, and it's just been a blast. We're going to be out in Star Trek Las Vegas, hopefully chatting with some cast members from the Orville.
Excellent. I hope so. And last but definitely not least, our dear friend Jessica Lynn Verdi.
Yeah, we're waiting for her to show up. But while she's getting ready, let me just talk a little bit about her. She's a great improviser. She's very good looking. She's friend to all. Yes. One of my proudest things is that I get to say I've worked with Roddenberry Entertainment, and I know John Champion, so that's pretty great. And I felt beyond honored that after doing my first Star Trek Las Vegas, Roddenberry thought I might be a good fit for talking about the Orville. Turns out Mike and I are great fits to do that. So I see a couple people in the chat who's never heard of our goddamn show before.
Oh my God, that's
I'm gonna
wrong.
Actually watch my language. I forgot what the rating is with this. So come check out Mission Log of the Orville if you are new to that. And if you're like, I don't know if I'm gonna like the Orville, you will, and you'll love our commentary along with it. And other things I do is like improv acting, and I'm strongly standing with the WGA and SAG-AFTRA, even though it's very complicated right now for a lot of people. It doesn't just affect actors and writers, which I feel like a lot of what we do at Star Trek Las Vegas will be unpacking the implications and the reverberations of these strikes. So
you could even pontificate about that if you want to,
or proselytize. I still think proselytize is a good word, even if it doesn't even. Did it make sense?
Proselytize is correct, I believe, isn't it? Or no, wait, John, what does it mean?
What does proselytize mean? Well, it's sort of people use it in place of like preaching. It's like you're getting out a message to people in hopes of like converting them.
Soapboxing.
Soapboxing. Very good. Very good, which we do all the time on Mission Log. By the way, for people who have not heard of Mission Log the Orville or Mission Log Live or Mission Log Prodigy or any of those, go to podcast.roddenberry.com because the entire list, all the shows are there, and then every way to find those shows is there. And I was just telling Ryan and Sirach yesterday, and that interview will be up later tonight, that, you know, we've all shifted a little bit. We do audio, and we all I think we've got pretty good at that mostly, but then we've also dipped into video as well. And I love the fact that, you know, there's Mission Log Live, but then you've got Mission Log the Orville and Prodigy with a video component to it. And Heather, you were getting into it, and Mike, you were getting into it as well about what we do on Discord to have these live kind of freeform chats with our audience to drop in and talk back to us about what they've been watching and what they thought about what we said.
And I think if you're not watching our YouTube video or the YouTube version of our podcast with Jessica and me, that you're really missing out just on Jessica's facial expressions alone when I say something.
Just like this.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, it's actually me going mute a lot to talk to John and be like, how dare you cast somebody who's smarter and funnier than me
like that?
No.
Yeah, well, that was tough to find that person, I will say that. Hey, we are talking about STLV today, and we've got a long lineup to share with you of what we'll be doing, what'll be happening at the Roddenberry stage. There's so much going on. But the thing that is on everybody's mind, and what you already brought up, Jessica, is yes, there is the strike happening, and there's a lot of ambiguity. We are live on a Sunday evening. Everything is closed down right now anyway, so we won't be really putting a fine point on any of this until in the coming week and maybe beyond that. However, for those of you who have not seen it, I just got a screen grab from something that Armin Shimmerman posted. Hopefully, most of you have seen it already. Michelle Hurd, yes, from Star Trek Picard, as a member of the SAG-AFTRA negotiating committee, helped carve out a dispensation for actors to attend sci-fi conventions as long as certain conditions are met by the conventions. If you're going to STLV, please do go, but expect some differences. And I think he is saying that not just to the audience, but to his fellow actors and creators who will be there as well. Please go. There may be changes, but you know what? It's all a bit of live theater, and we all get to roll with the punches and make it up as we go and enjoy each other's friendship and camaraderie. So hopefully nobody is having second thoughts, except for Jessica, who just raised her hand.
I am. Actually, I'm quitting right now. Well, I'm fairly new to the convention scene, and you hear a lot of people that lament about like even Comic-Con, right, where it's all about the movie studios and stuff like that. So in your opinion, or people who have been going longer than me, is this a chance for it to go and revert to just what it was before, like about the fans, maybe like a sharing in that? Like, is there a way to look at it that way?
I have my own thoughts, but I'm curious. Yeah, go ahead, Heather. I want to hear others say.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And it's something that we focused on this morning in the Shore Leave panel, was the large amount of unofficial fan-created, fan-run events, outside hours, stuff that's going on. I don't know. When I go to this convention, this is, I think, my 12th. I've missed 2021, but I've been going since 2009, and I maybe get to see one panel or two. I go to see you guys. I go to see my friends. And so I think that there is a great opportunity to realize that you are surrounded by like-minded people, that everyone has something in common. You can talk to pretty much anybody and maybe make some of those friendships. I've known John now for over 10 years. through going to STLV.
Mhm.
I've known Marina, who was on earlier this morning. We've known each other since 2010, I think. So lifelong friends and a community that has changed my life. And I think everyone has the opportunity to do this. And if we do get some type of panels with celebrities, I'm really interested in hearing them talk about other things, like what are they doing philanthropy wise. I hope they get a platform to talk about the strike, because I do think that's extremely important, and a lot of people who aren't in Hollywood or who aren't tuned into the conversation may not understand what's going on and how it does affect more than writers and more than actors. And so there is a plethora of information out there that we can discuss, and then still go to the bar, still go to fan panels, which I highlighted. There was one earlier talking about like how we've created a community on Discord outside of the convention. A lot of people develop these communities during the pandemic, and they're still going strong. We're still growing and building those communities that keep the spirit of the convention alive throughout the year. And then we get to go all have this family reunion. So I'm really excited. Like, even if no actors showed up, I would still show up.
Go ahead, Mike. You don't have to raise your hand here.
Yeah. So I mean, yes, 1,000 times yes to everything Heather said. I agree with you 100%. But what's really nice, and I'm new to Star Trek Las Vegas, aka this year the 57-year mission. My first time was just a couple of years ago, and I found a home at the Roddenberry Interactive stage. I mean, that was a place where there were folks I knew, there were familiar faces, there was programming that was very enjoyable being put on. Jessica and John doing the morning show and doing some other things. Match game with Gene Raygun was fantastic. I think that'll be coming back. John might be talking about that.
So yeah,
but I that really is my place, my happy place, is that Roddenberry Interactive stage. And as well as all the other panels, if we give these folks a chance to talk about what's going on with SAG-AFTRA, or if there's anybody there from WGA that can put their spin on there, all the better, just to help them get the word out. We'll see what's going, but either way, I'm really looking forward to it.
I mean, Norman, I think you and I have always had a really good experience when we get one of the actors or somebody to come in and talk about, we're talking about Star Trek, we're talking about an experience. They may have told that story before, but when you find something that is outside of that they're really passionate about, those are the conversations I prefer anyway. So Armin Shimmerman, bless him, he's working through this. He wants to come, he wants to be there and talk. If he is not allowed to talk about Quark, that's fine, because he could do all day long about Shakespeare and I would be there for it.
And I'm reading right now Illyrium, the first in his Illyrium series, and he's going to be there, and I'm sure he's going to have the third book in that trilogy just dropped sometime in 2023 earlier. So he'll be there, and I'd love to talk to him just about that.
Nice.
I mean, it is nice to be able to go to the convention, with the destination in mind that you're going to see, a Star Trek actor or Star Trek talent that you want to, talk to or meet or get an autograph from. But being able to see kind of like the depths and the levels of that talent and where that talent came from and how they kind of like harnessed their craft and how they got into the business and things of that nature, it's like really important. I'm glad, Mike, you brought up Armin, because Armin's, his knowledge of Shakespeare, his writing ability, have all of these other actors who are, they're musicians like Christina Chong. She just released an album. And you have all of these other like talented people, artists, artisans, designers, production people that create the props, the special effects, the wardrobe, all of these other professionals that also come to these conventions. You can talk to them about trying to get into the industry yourself. And I think that's one thing that sometimes gets a little kind of like pushed to the side. I remember I went to one Comic-Con and then, they kind of pushed aside the artist's alley to like put in like a bunch of video game banks. And I'm like, no, the artist's alley, this is why people come to a comic convention, to see comic artists, to see artists that do, original artwork. And that's what inspires other people to get into the business. So I think that if you can actually have these moments, where, say, some of the talent, they're not necessarily contracted to stay on a panel for X amount of time, they can be in their booth and be on the floor and, and talk to the fans and, answer more questions and not, again, be beholding to X rules, then I think you're probably going to have a little bit more flexibility and maybe get more out of your experience than you thought. Because sometimes, like, my goal is to get this autograph and stand in line for 20 hours to get one thing on a poster. And that's fine. If that's what you want to do, if that's what you saved up all of your money for and all of your time and banked your vacation hours, and you want to do that, that's your convention experience. That's awesome, man. Go for it. But you might be able to do 20 different things for 1 hour slots of time now instead of one 20-hour thing. So that's just a way of looking at it. And on some social media that I've seen, people have been like, I go because I had this one discussion with a group of people around a table, and I just kind of fell into it. And we ended up talking for hours about so many different things, about why we like the show, about why we don't like the show, about how long you've watched the show, about how people are trying to either, invite you in or exclude you, and how do you get around that, right? But you do it in this incredible discourse of a discussion, as opposed to 240 characters at a time. So
Right.
You can really take advantage of that when you're live with people. That's the best part of a convention.
Yeah. Bravo. Well, let's get into it. Let's share what we have lined up so far at the Roddenberry Interactive stage and in some of the creation stages as well. One thing just to let people know, so if you've never been, or if you've been before and you're not aware of where the Roddenberry Interactive stage is, you have your main stage, the big giant convention hall, kind of like our Hall H, where I think it's like 3,000 people fit in there, something like that. Then you have a secondary stage, but if you look for Jimmy's Place, look for the bar, the lounge, in the convention space, not in the hotel, but in the convention space, you will find the Roddenberry Interactive stage. And the way we break it up, our programming will be shifted kind of earlier in the day through the late afternoon and early evening, and then that allows us a little bit of time to not overlap with creations plans that typically run into the night. So if you're there to see to do karaoke or to see Chase Masterson sing or Bonnie Gordon, we're not going to overlap with that. You'll be able to catch all of those shows. But the first thing for all of you people who arrive early, and I know that Larry and Kayla Iacovino from Trek Movie will have a panel. If they haven't already had it, they'll have it a little later today on this very virtual TrekCon, talking about the landing party. So you can join us on Wednesday night, the night before the convention officially opens. That is, we've been doing that together. I think this is our 14th year to do that. Yeah. So Larry, representing LarryNemecek.com, Portal47.com, and us from Roddenberry Podcasts, and then Kayla and the others from TrekMovie.com. We get together, we hang out at the Masquerade Bar, we do trivia, we give out prizes. I lose my voice, so then Thursday through Sunday, I can't talk. It's great. That's a tradition.
It's really good for me because I can't shut the heck up.
So it's perfect timing on that. And actually, Heather, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that right before the landing party at iBar, something else going on. Yes?
Yes. I love it because I already talked up the landing party this morning.
Nice.
So mutual appreciation here, but yes, it's our newbie and solo traveler meetup at iBar from like 7 to 9, and it's just an opportunity. It's really for everyone. You don't have to be new, you don't have to be alone, but it's a meeting point to just say, oh, I have friends now. There are lots of us there. I am there. I'm very approachable. I like to talk to people. So Marina will be there, Ron will be there, and many other friends. Lambda Quadrant is helping host, and I believe Dr. Trek, Larry Nemecek, is supposed to stop by for a mini trivia beforehand. So yeah, you'll find me there, and then at 9 o'clock I will be wandering over to the landing party to join everybody for the very fun and difficult trivia that has great prizes.
But we have to make it difficult.
You do,
because
we know we're Trekkies.
Exactly.
We're Trekkies. And we know, but I don't know. I lose. I don't even participate. I'm just there for the camaraderie and to see friends. But it's a super fun event. And like, that's your Wednesday night. Who cares about the vendor's room? You can go all weekend. Come party with us.
Right. Yeah. You got to make it difficult, Jessica, because there's always somebody. There's always that one person who just knows them all.
It can't
Right.
it can't be that hard. You have to like let it be fun for people, and then get like the hard ones are the ones that are like the deal breakers or like the tie breakers. I also am not going to put the questions together, so I'm like,
throw in an easy one to stroke their egos, gain a little confidence. Like, what is Harry Mudd's middle name? Like, you throw that one in.
Oh,
you see,
wait,
I don't
I should
know.
know
do
this.
that, and then you come back with something.
That's not easy. That's hard, man. Come on.
Tiberius J. Kirk.
Roy
Whatever.
Kirk.
Hardcore Fenton Mudd. Where have
There
you
you
been
go.
keeping
There you
yourself?
Now I have to cut that out of the trivia, Mike.
See,
So
I helped John do
One
trivia
less
last
easy
week,
one
and
for
I
you, John.
completely forgot all the answers. I was like, I'm gonna just work this trivia.
So I got to tell you this. I did Sunday morning speed trivia with a tremendous hangover. Was like number 7 or 8 in line. Was like, I know that one. I know that one. I know that one. I get up to number 1 in line and I freeze.
Of course, this is the way it works. All right, and then the return of something that we have been doing at STLV for a couple of years now. Jessica, you and I get to work together every damn day.
It's like the best thing. Do you know how I didn't know how much I missed being in front of a receptive audience?
Yeah, that's the key. Right.
Until during the pandemic, we did the first time you had me come. Thank God Norm couldn't come. It changed the trajectory of my life.
Right. Thank you, Norm. Yeah.
Well, I got, someone's going to send me a check sometime, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we are back to doing the morning show. We will plan to do that every day of the convention, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We're going to try to not make it like 9 o'clock because that's really hard.
I just expect to not see me until the evening again after
exactly
that. That's the only thing. I'll be awake. It'll be great.
Right. Right.
I'm sure. Do you have like a little bit of an itinerary of what we're gonna do during?
Oh God, no. God,
okay.
No.
Exciting.
But the important part about the morning show is that we will find a way to stream it, whether that is kosher or not, with the powers that be. So we'll get it out there, because what was so cool, I don't know if you saw this, but there were people online saying, hey, I really wish they'd bring back the morning show, because the ones who showed up in person got coffee and donuts. I can't promise that this year. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. Okay. But then there were other people in their hotel rooms getting ready for the day. They would watch our show and they get a preview of what's coming up that day at the convention. And we have special guests. And those guests might be, topical guests talking about a cause or a topic that is important to them. They might be celebrity guests, but we make it like an old time talk show, So
it's a good time, to say the least.
It is a good time.
Yeah.
You get to, you show up groggy. Jessica makes fun of me for an hour, and then we all go home.
I wouldn't do it if your face just didn't beg for it, The
Fair
thing
enough.
is you managed to give it back to me in the best way that it wouldn't be fun if you were just an easy target.
Well, thank you for that. I think we will also do a happy hour one day. We switched the formatting last year, but we will do a happy hour one day, because that very likely will be a lead in to something very important. Norman, our old friends from Star Trek Wines, we will be doing a wine tasting. I'm very excited about that. We had one version of it at the Rio. We had another version of it at Bally's, but they will be back. They will have their booth in the vendor room, but you will actually get to come try the product when we do our wine tasting. I think that'll be Friday night. That is a little bit TBA. Everything that we say today comes with a caveat that you need to follow at Roddenberry and at Roddenberry Official to get the up-to-the-minute updates. So, and yes, Heather, you had a question or a comment.
I had a beautiful
look at that
bottle of the good stuff that
That's
I'm still saving for a special occasion.
Is that the vodka?
It is the rye, right,
guys?
That's
the darker blue.
That is the rye.
I know I'm it's about to rain here in South Florida. Big surprise.
Right.
But yeah, I treasure this. It is my baby. I'm just waiting for the right time. And super appreciative of our friends over at Star Trek Wines. They were phenomenal last year, and really looking forward to doing another tasting with them.
Very important thing about this tasting. It is limited entry. and there will be tickets. They will be free. And most likely what you do is you'll scan a QR code, you'll put your email into a thing, and then you will get notified if you got a ticket. It is limited seating. There's only so much wine to go around. But for you lucky people who pay attention to our social media and then click the link or do the thing, you will get to come try their wine.
Or
Meanwhile,
John, like maybe they could go to our show in the morning and kind of get the up-to-date information on like what we're doing. That might be.
I was going to say, well, they could do that, or the second best thing, they can watch us drink wine and think to themselves, wow, that looks really, really good. I wish I could do that.
I mean, I don't know if you remember how delicious their vodka was warm, which is saying something from 18-year-old Jessica, who was forced to drink a sunrise with basically a warm I will never drink warm vodka, and that warm vodka tasted so good.
It was so good. I think
they
it was
do
so
a good job
because we were on stage.
because
we're always fishing for material, and let's enjoy warm vodka.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. And Norman, I think there are none of the wines that you have not tasted, correct?
Oh, just out right here in front of everybody. Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I think most of us were at the wine tasting last year. So they had the Riesians, both, I think, varietals. They had
the rosé and the Pinot Grigio. I think I might be wrong on that, but there's a white and the rosé. Yeah.
And then I think they sampled some of the Klingon blood wine, which was fantastic. And they had the Canar. And let's see, I'm just not trying to implicate myself on how many I've drank. A few.
They were tiny cups. The cups were this big last year, so.
Which means you can fit a lot of them in your hands.
I admit nothing, but I have tasted most of them. Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, look at this. Pen fisting it.
One between each finger.
Exactly. You're flipping it like quarters.
I'm like Shang-Chi or the Mandarin with like 10 rings, right? Each one of those can hold a shot glass. Yeah, you guys got me. You got me. Yeah. No, but they're fantastic. And I take the opportunity to try and get one of those tickets and get that QR code, try and get into the wine tasting. And then talk about it to all your friends and just lord that over them and say, hey, look what I did. And try to get, a bottle of your own to share with your friends, because it's the best. And so those collector's bottles, you can reuse those too. Yeah. Right.
And if we know those wine guys are really good about like always cutting a deal. It's like they have a thing at the convention where you get a percentage.
I don't know if you can legally say that.
I maybe it's a
motivated seller
thing. Yeah, right.
But no, they're great guys. You can stop by the booth after you see them. If you weren't convinced by coffee and the possibility of coffee and donuts at the morning show, learning more about Star Trek wines and Star Trek liquors is going to be even the better selling point.
Exactly. All right. And then, Mike, you mentioned it earlier, Match Game. Yes, Match Game, I assume, is coming back. I got a little work to do between now and then, but we will have a celebrity panel. There will be prizes. There will be raunchy jokes. That's just how it works, gang. That's just how it happens. So I'm now going to put this out to all of you and everybody in the viewing audience. If there are people you want to see on that Match Game panel playing Match Game with us, let us know, because we'll just call up friends who are there at the convention and say, hey, come on down and do the show. We had John Billingsley. He was a fabulous guest. Mary Chieffo, fabulous guest. Julianne Grossman, fabulous guest. There's so many good people to draw from who really get into it. So let us know. And of course, if you would like to be a contestant on Match Game, let us know. You can either contact us at Mission Log Pod or on the main Roddenberry channels, again, at Roddenberry and at Roddenberry Official, because I would love to know if you want to be a part of that game. So keep an eye open for that. We usually do that on the last day, on Sunday, but we might split that up. We're not totally sure yet.
Guy Fieri's been on the show a couple times.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Tragically, Guy Fieri has been a part of it. Yes. Yeah.
Can't shake him. He's actually paid to be on our show.
Yeah. It's desperate and sad, but we'll see. We'll see if we can not have him this year if we're lucky.
But what if he brings coffee and donuts? We might have to strike a deal.
Trade-off.
No.
leave him at
That's
the door.
what we do.
Yeah, right. And then he can walk away. I want to share with you all, because this is cool to me, some panels that we have been slotting into our stage. And again, nothing's set on times or dates yet, but James Kerwin, friend of the show, and Larry Nemechek, we use the term.
Norm.
Okay.
Friend of the John.
Yeah.
They're doing a panel called it's their Canon smoothing panel, which they did last year. And I love this because it's all the things in Star Trek, especially with so much new Trek happening right now. And you're watching a show and you see something happen, you go, oh, but wait, but that time doesn't line up, and that character did this thing before. And they will do the Canon smoothing panel to talk to you, our friends, our guests, our listeners, to help you smooth over those moments in Star Trek that don't seem to quite fit together. And I am told that they're working on some excellent insider guests to talk about this stuff with them. So don't miss that. Norm, I expect you to be in the audience shouting out things that are Canon violations.
Well, I felt those descriptions kind of like coming straight through your microphone right at me. I don't know why. Must have been the last Mission Log Live.
We're doing this panel, Norman.
I know. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I love bringing the heat to Kerwin, because we were on a panel last year.
I think you mean bring the fire.
Yes, the cold fire, the coldest fire to Kerwin.
Okay.
It's just because he has such great hair and he dresses impeccably, and I was sitting right next to him in a Hawaiian shirt, looking my best not to be not Magnum PI. So I'm just jealous of him, and I need to take him down a peg or two. No, but he knows his stuff. He's really good about pushing back too, and it'll be interesting because Larry kind of tries to filter it all through a good and positive and open-minded lens. But I'm sure he has a couple of things that he also probably will push back on, and I do too. But I think that the panel, it's an important one for people to be able to say, hey, look, some things don't work. Heather and I talked about this on a Mission Log Live, where we said, as long as it can be like rationally discussed, I think that these are very important things, because not everything is going to fit with everybody over 57 years, especially with Strange New Worlds superimposed on top of the original series. Some things just will and won't. And that's just the nature of things, but you got to keep moving forward.
Things happen, and I don't want to lose sleep about them. Like they're fun to talk about, and I like to hear people rationalize and work through it. But Jessica, like you look like you're just ready, like you've already got a thing.
I don't have a thing. What I was gonna say, and I was debating. I have a problem where I want to interrupt people all the time. But Chris Marshall said #Canon's not hard, which I love so much better than Canon smoothing, because first of all, it's a double entendre. Canon's not hard.
Say, I don't get it.
Not hard to figure out the canon, but it doesn't have also like the canons. I don't know. I just loved it. And also,
it's hard and soft canon.
Explain that, please.
Made me think about
yes,
hard cannons. Hopefully my father isn't watching right now. He may be.
By the way, I don't have the chat happening on my screen, so if you see good things, please shout them out to
Well, Norm needed to be wrong for a second. I needed to let him air out his opinions, however incorrect they were, and then get to that part, which was very hard-hitting information.
Yes. All right, and then I want to move on to another panel here. Speaking of James Kerwin,
was it Chris Marshall? Someone said it. I miss. Oh no, Kyle said it. I'm sorry, Kyle Jacobs. I'm giving the wrong credit. Kyle, and that's why I shouldn't have spoken.
Kyle, now Jessica owes you a drink at STLV. So
free wine drink from Star Trek Wines
at the wine tasting if you get in.
We'll bring you a thimble cup.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But James and I are going to be joined on stage by Dr. Mohammed Noor, friend of the show, member of our Patreon Discord community. Very excited about that. We are doing a panel. We have ripped the title right away from a Carl Sagan book, which is fabulous, called The Demon Haunted World. And we are exploring the ideas of pseudoscience versus real science and how the confusion of the two can really provide a hindrance to achieving that Star Trek future that we say that we want. We look at where we are now, and there are social and economic issues, of course, that we're all concerned about. We think, man, how are we ever going to have a brighter future with that stuff on our way? But there's another angle here that I think has not been explored too deeply on the stages at STLV. We have great science panels, but we haven't really explored what is scientific thinking and what is critical thinking that allows us to maybe leave behind some of the nonsensical pseudoscience junk and be able to focus on real sciences that will hopefully pave the way for a better future. So Dr. Noor will be there with us because we're both idiots. And we will bring in some other qualified guests to talk about that topic as well. Mike,
I'm curious.
Oh,
no, I'm going to host a panel where everyone
ahead,
needs to speak positively about themselves, because there's a lot of deprecative speaking. I might be guilty as well for making you all feel bad about yourselves, but I need to host a pseudoscience positive panel. Okay.
Well, Jessica and I get into the pseudoscience a lot. We chat about the Orville, and what I find is funny, and hopefully you'll discuss this in your panel too, because I think it's just as important, is the scientific method. I mean, there's a lot in Star Trek that says it's possible if we cross power the toaster to the microwave, we can use the deflector disk to get out of this. And they say, do it. No testing, right?
Yeah.
Tachyons, neutrinos,
graviton particles.
No testing. No proof of said hypothesis, just do it. Sometimes you got to test things on the fly. Just seems to work a lot. And a theory is not proof. If you don't get that repeatability, it's not science. So great topic. I'm looking forward to that one.
Cool. And then Norman, you and I, there's always a mission log panel of some sort that is a topical thing. We kind of rack our brains to think about, well, what are the topics that have come up over the last year? They might be generated out of the fandom, out of listenership, where we are in Mission Log at the moment. And we get to have that open forum where we discuss very often with a guest or two and then with the audience. That panel is TBD at the moment, just because of the lineup changes at the convention. We will either be on a creation stage or we'll be on the Roddenberry stage, but regardless, we will do a thing and we will post about it on Mission Log Pod. And I know, Norman, I always ask you, I'm like, hey, you're writing that one down, right? Because you're the keeper of the topics. Yes.
Some of those things, like, they happen organically, and John and I are doing Mission Log, and sometimes it ends up in the value added material, like basically content that we don't get to. And then I'll just put it in the notes page, and John's like, should we discuss this at some time, either on Mission Log Engage, which we will get back to, or maybe on, a panel in in Las Vegas. But there are a couple of ideas that we've been, kicking back and forth. And, we try and keep our finger on the pulse of not just what we're talking about with Voyager right now and how it applies, to the overall conversation, but the overall conversation of how Star Trek in turn is kind of, evolving out there in the public. So it'll be interesting to see, what we can mine from our own morals and meanings and messages, John.
I love it. All right. So look for that. Again, you can find all the lineup at Roddenberry and at Roddenberry Official, or from at Mission Log Pod. State of the Trek. That is Larry Nemechek's annual panel at the Roddenberry stage, where he will poll the audience. And he will ask all of you your opinions about the current state of the franchise. And it's very cool. It's a great way to wrap up the week, because we learn something every time we do that, where people's maybe loyalties and interests lie. And my favorite discussions are the types where what shows really irked you because you thought it was a terrible idea and then won you over. And unanimously, a few years ago, Lower Decks, people like, oh, why are they doing a cartoon? I don't want to see it. Unanimously, the audience, that became their favorite show in a year.
Wow.
So that was kind of cool to see that happen. And then in the nature of this being an interactive stage, there will be things you can check in to do, like Star Trek Bingo. Again, check our social media for details on that. Star Trek Photo Scavenger Hunt all weekend. There will be prizes. There will be prizes for bingo as well. But check our social media and come to the stage, because you'll get all the details about all the ongoing games there. Heather, you ran bingo a couple of years ago unofficially, which I love. And you showed me the bingo card at one time. Hello? Wait, do you have your card?
No, they're
Oh,
they're
you're
muted.
muted. Oh no. Heather is muted.
Is your
Oh.
actual physical mic muted?
Oh, we just can't hear you.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
no.
Oh.
Is
Oh
your-
no. Okay. Well, regardless. Oh wait.
I'm
We
gonna
are
speak for
technical
them.
tech.
Yes, I did host the bingo for you, and I thought I did a wonderful job.
There you go. It's perfect.
I think you
That
did,
was
Heather.
a
It was great. I was there, and
Yeah, it was so good.
you looked a
It was
little
so good.
different. Hair was a little different, but otherwise,
Yeah.
the bingo game just went off magnificently.
I can't
We
believe
also-
we
we
do a
started
photo
kicking around.
thing. Oh, I think we
Oh,
got you
are you
for a
there?
second.
I think we got Heather back.
Oh, you're cutting out now.
no.
This is super fun.
Oh no. We're having mic
Sunspots.
problems.
It's
Well, that's
going to
okay.
be-
You can interpretively do the show like this. Dance. It'll be great.
By round of applause,
if you
how
get
do
the
you
mic
feel?
thing worked out, just
Right.
yes. But anyway, there was bingo. There will be more bingo, and there will also be the photo scavenger hunt. So everybody, please join us for those. And that's the scavenger hunt. I understand will be all weekend of the convention.
That's
So
so
it'll be like an
cool.
ongoing game that you pull together stuff, and then we will have winners. There will of course be many other updates to the Roddenberry stage schedule. So make sure you check in again at our socials to find out what they are. But I also want to bring up a couple of things that are very important on creations stages that will not be on the Roddenberry stage. And hopefully, if Heather's got her mic worked out, if not, I will come right back to you. But Tractivism, because you are repping the T-shirt right now. Can we hear you?
I'm going to message them.
Work on this.
Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
There you go.
There we go.
It might not be reading the level of volume
Go
you're
to
at.
somebody else.
We
Nope,
hear
we
you.
got you back.
there
We
we
got
go.
you right
We
there.
got you back. Yeah.
Loud and clear.
I don't know.
All
That
right. So Heather,
hear
tell
us.
us about the Tractivism panel on creations stage.
I don't think
Oh no.
they can hear us. So,
I think. Yeah. Well,
I'm going to message.
okay.
real quick.
I will give you the nutshell version from my POV while we're working on that. Tractivism, tractivism.org is a URL that we have secured to be a sort of a landing page for the charitable causes that are important to people in the Star Trek community. And that means actors, writers, directors, producers, and fans all working together to affect positive change. Any of you who followed us starting a couple of years ago with the Trek Talks virtual convention live stream that we do every January, that, of course, John Billingsley and David Livingston, along with me and Bill and Dan from Trek Geeks, we formed that, and it just keeps growing and growing. The first year we raised over $60,000. The second year we raised over $100,000, and we want to keep pushing that. But at the same time, we realized that there are so many people in the Trek community with causes that are important to them. Jonathan Frakes with pancreatic cancer, Armin and Kitty aligned with Frakes for pancreatic cancer, Kate Mulgrew for Alzheimer's awareness, Chase Masterson, Pop Culture Hero Coalition. There are so many great causes to be aware of, and we want all of you to not only be aware, but also participate in ways that you can to help us to affect change. So Heather, Matthew Simone, and other people who are a part of this Tractivism community will have a panel to discuss exactly it. We have a representative from the Nichelle Nichols Foundation joining them on stage as well. So there is going to be a lot to cover. And most importantly, we want to hear your stories and your interest in the causes that speak to you. So Tractivism.org, and keep an eye open for the Tractivism panel in the final program when that comes out. That will be on one of the creation stages. Did I do okay, Heather? I hope we got it all out. Okay.
I don't know. Well, I don't know what happened, but I'm using my Mac speakers now, unfortunately.
Hey, we can hear you loud and clear.
That was great.
Perfect.
Well, yay. Thank you, John. I didn't hear anything about any of what you said because I somehow had no audio at all. I assume
no.
that you represented our panel very well. And, you know, if Shatner can't be on stage at 3:30 in the main hall, then you can just come to our panel.
There you go.
And support what we're doing with Tractivism. And hopefully you mentioned we might have a special announcement at that panel as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so really excited to see what happens. I do have a big storm going over, so I'm going to mute myself while you guys talk about
Okay.
what's next.
Oh, we can. Oh, we did hear it. I was going to say we can't.
That was
Holy
cool.
moly!
That was awesome.
That was like Zeus saying, and that's it.
Welcome to Florida, gang. All right. And then perfect lead in, Jessica, you and Mike, and what we hope will be a knockout panel about the Orville. For the first time at this convention, a panel dedicated to the Orville. We hope. We're very hopeful. We have all the fingers crossed.
I mean, even if we don't get to talk to the cast, which basically they announced a few months ago that the almost entire cast of the Orville will be at this panel, and both Mike and I was like started drooling, and then figured Mike made it happen. Let's just put it that way. Mike was like, "Nope, we're the right people for the job." Even if they don't, we'll find some way on the Roddenberry stage to maybe make cardboard cutouts out of all of them, and
it could happen.
You know what I'm saying? There's worse ways of recreating that. But Mike, just
so this is Jessica sharing credit when she really ought to get the credit, because we did see this press release that there were going to be 6 of the full-time cast members, pretty much the entire 8 minus Jessica Zor and Seth MacFarlane. So the other 6, we all know who they are. And we thought we should do this. And Jessica was like, you'd be the perfect guy to reach out and see if we can. And I was like, really? Little old me? And Jessica was like, yeah, you. So I just kind of started. We've had a wonderful working relationship with the Orville production staff from the beginning. They have appeared on our show. We've had 4 of their producers on the show, including Seth MacFarlane, Joel McNeely. David Goodman was on there. He wanted to come back to chat about the comics, but during the WGA strike, he's going to put that off until it's over. Great relationship with the Orville production crew, and they were very open to it. We reached out to Cassie Brewer from Fahey Management, the publicity group that Seth works with, and they called us right back, put us in touch with Disney Television Studios and Heroes for Hire, which books talent to appear at these conventions. And they were very open to the idea that Jessica and I, moderate this panel. So we were approved for that through Creation Entertainment about a month ago. At this point, we're really looking forward to it. And as we mentioned before, things are up in the air, but we are looking forward to this going, especially with the news that you talked about, John and Heather from Michelle Hurd, and having that carve out for conventions. One thing that's nice right now, and I'll just say that the Orville is not currently under production. That might work very well for us in this particular instance. I can't say anything about the future of the Orville other than everybody I've spoken to is optimistic. And I think that's great news. Other than that, Jessica, what are we looking forward to there?
Honestly, I don't even know how we're going to talk to 6 or 7 people individually and make it all work, because
we can make anything work.
No, I know. I'm being deprecative. Let me be positive. Mike and I are really good as a team. It's been Mike re-listened to the beginning of our podcast about I want to say months ago now, and Mike said we came out of the gate hot, didn't we? And I was like, yeah, we're very good. We did it. And that's us building chemistry right off the bat. So one of the things I'd like to say is I think Mike has missed his calling of being a manager or a producer, because he is on top of it. People love saying yes to him.
Yep.
I don't want to play favorites as to who I'm excited to talk to, but I still have yet to meet Scott Grimes, and so I think we're both looking forward to picking his brain a little bit. And I think, we'll happily take, I did not run this by Mike, so I apologize, but if you guys have specific questions that like everyone starts asking and it falls under the header of, oh, well, they can talk about that, I think we'd be happy to kind of know what people want to know about the show that isn't, a little insider baseball. There was a lot of disappointment from the production team after the Comic-Con panel that season 4 wasn't announced. And they feel just as disappointed about that too. So what I'd like to see from our fans and from our audience is not going in expecting that announcement, but instead going in and showing how much the show means to you. And I know the thing is, like, the audience couldn't know that by saying more Orville, it's like a good thing because the studio needs to hear that. But at the same time, let's just celebrate what we do got too. So I kind of want to find the balance of let's not ask about season 4. We can't anyway. And let's find a way to just make sure these actors and these producers know that we really love the show and what they do.
Well said. Well, I hope that everything works out. Of course, we're all waiting for what comes down next week as those negotiations take place, and we do get some guidelines. But I hope that everybody is committed to coming and all of that works out, because I would love to see both of you on stage with that lineup. I think that would just be a thrill.
I'm excited about it. Either just to get this far really means a lot, right? Wouldn't you say, Mike?
I would say so. I mean, this has been, I mean, this has just been an unbelievable adventure for me. I mean, Jessica's already famous before we got into this, but for me, I mean, I was just doing a couple of podcasts here and there, and John asked if I would chat about the Orville with you, and I said yes. And next thing I knew, I'm getting to be on the virtual TrekCon with you fine people. So for me, I'm having a blast. I'm just trying to enjoy the
real
ride.
highlight. That's the real highlight, is virtual TrekCon. Thank you, Ryan and Sirach, for letting us all do that. And Norman, I want to wrap up today. We just got 4 minutes left here. This is tough, man. I don't want to be too vague, but we're going to have to be vague.
Oh, vague book, man. Bring it on.
Yeah. We're going to be really vague to say that, Mission Log has been around now for this is the 11th year. Mission Log kicked off August of 2012, so this is the 11th anniversary. And the show has grown a lot and changed a lot, and obviously just by virtue of this panel having more than just 2 people on it shows that Mission Log and Roddenberry Podcasts has become something a lot bigger than just that one show with 2 people talking to each other. And one of the great things that we've been able to do is develop this community through Patreon and Discord. I don't want to sound too commercial, but okay, patreon.com/missionlog. And those fine people have done some incredible things for us and for that community at large. So the things that we're not saying in this list right now are the things that those people, those Patreon supporters, get to do at a convention like this that nobody else gets to do. How much more can I say about that? Like, there's stuff to take home. There's meet and greet hangouts. There's exclusive things. You get to maybe see celebrities like Jessica Lynn Verdi,
Mike Richards,
Richards. Yeah, yeah.
Heather Barker.
Yeah, Heather Barker. I mean, that alone.
There's the old 80s slogan. Membership has its privileges.
Right. And was that for the jackets? The members only jackets?
Well, you have those.
You're talking about Amex. So if I had my American Express card and a members only jacket,
yes, then you would be a member of something.
And that still would not get me into the thing that I'm vaguely describing.
I don't even know what the heck you're talking about.
Oh,
well,
there's something.
No, you're not selling it well. Like, there are privileges to being a Mission Log
There
patron.
we go.
Those
there we go.
privileges happen at STLV, but I'm going to tell you right now that
and other places too.
And other places, but
yes,
the greatest privilege is just being on that Discord and being in a group where, as Norman said, you can express your viewpoint as long as you are a thoughtful person who does that with compassion and kindness. You're not a jerk. We're able to have discussions that you don't have on Twitter. Like, you can't even begin to have those discussions on social media. So the fact that we have this community where we do those things and we're able to learn from each other and develop these friendships, where we are going to Vegas, like I said, I just want to hug you guys. Like, I'm going to see my Trek family. What we may do as a perk of being a patron there, we'll find out.
There we go.
Stay. You don't sign up to just find out. You must sign up to stay.
Yes.
Patreon around and find out. That is
it. Exactly. Right? Perfectly said, everybody. We've got less than a minute here. So any last thoughts other than podcast.roddenberry.com, tractivism.org? Heather, you've got a Murph.
I've got a Murph, Save Star Trek Prodigy. And
Yes.
should they have the panel, whether it's our stage or main stage, show up to that panel and support the show. Like just our presence there, like with the Orville, just being there and being present communicates to them that we support those productions and we want to see more of them. So yes, all the Murph support.
Bravo. And by the way, yeah, the animated stuff, so like Lower Decks, Prodigy, those are handled by different unions. So a lot of those folks definitely will be there anyway. They were planning on it, and we will be doing something with them. We are right at time. It has been exactly an hour. Everybody stick around for more virtual TrekCon. Go to the next thing. You can see the link in the description on this very YouTube video. Go over, hang out with the next panel, and stick around all evening because there will be more. Take care, everybody. Cheers to you all.